welcome to Adi's kitchen. Today I'm going to prepare one of my favorites Indian dishes, that is chicken dum biryani. This is a proper Hyderabadi style. I have also prepared, in the past chicken biryani, but that is pakki biryani and this is kachi biryani. You know what is the difference? The difference is in kachi biryani, the meat is not cooked before the rice has been added. For example, for pakki biryani, you cook for meat for 15-20 minutes. You'll also cook rice for at least 90% or 80%, and you'll keep the rice on top of the meat or cooked meat, and then you completely seal this and then you cook it together. But that is pakki biryani, and that is not the real authentic Hyderabadi biryani. Kachi biryani is the real authentic biryani, in which meat is not cooked before. Meat will be cooked once the cooked rice has been added as part of layers, and meat and rice will be cooked together, and this way the meat is very juicy and very tender, and this is a fantastic recipe. Please follow through. You will really love this. Okay. And I'm going to tell a lot of tips and lot of variations that we are going to follow, and if you really follow this, and you will really make a wonderful and fantastic Hyderabadi chicken dum biryani. To make a very good biryani, you always have to have a vessel like this. If you see this, the bottom is quite thick, so you always must use a thick bottom vessel, and then make sure all your chicken pieces touch at the bottom of the vessel, because most of the times people always keep pieces like a piled up manner. You keep the pieces one on top the other, so don't do that. To get a proper biryani, you have to make sure all the pieces touch the bottom of the pan, and preferably use the thigh meat. If you see this is a full chicken leg piece. I've just cut it into half. So in this, I'm having around 9 full legs. I've just cut them into half. So this is 18 pieces, and then this can serve for 9 people. I will also explain very clearly the proportions in the description. You can also follow the directions for the pakki biryani. I will also leave the URL for the pakki biryani also. You can also try pakki biryani, but kachi biryani is really authentic. Okay. Now, first of all, what I'm doing, I'm just adding chili powder. This is going to be around 2 big tablespoons of chili powder. And I'm also adding just around 1.5 tablespoons of salt. Just half a tablespoon of turmeric powder, and I'm adding around 1.5 tablespoon of cumin powder, and 2 tablespoons of coriander powder, one and a half tablespoons of garam masala, you know, 4 tablespoons of thick yogurt, and the biryani masala powder. You can check the biryani masala powder. I will also give in the description the link to prepare biryani masala powder, or you can also buy from a store. But if you can buy from a store, always choose the ones which are very good. I prefer Shan. A lot of people say it has, some chemicals. I do agree, but use very less quantity, or you prepare your own biryani masala powder. You can check the description from in the directions, so you can also prepare fresh biryani masala powder. So I'm using the fresh biryani masala powder in this. Around 4 big tablespoons of biryani masala powder. And 1 full lemon juice into it. I'm also adding around 4 tablespoons of oil. And some freshly chopped mint and coriander leaves. Approximately 1 bunch of coriander leaves and half a bunch of mint leaves should be enough in this. And another thing is, when you are adding oil, make sure if you have oil, which is remaining when you fried the onions, use that oil, because that gives a nice flavor to the biryani. But if you don't have fried onion leftover oil, you can also use a fresh oil. Some people like to use store-bought fried onions. So I'm also doing the same. So you can also use fried onions from the store, or you can also make it yourself. In case if you are making it yourself, make sure you have that oil, remaining oil, add to this. So next, most of the ingredients are already into this. Okay, we are going to marinate this at least for 3 hours. Since I'm cooking it tomorrow in the morning, I'm going to marinate this overnight, and I'll keep it in the fridge. And wash your hands and mix this properly. Make sure all the pieces are nicely coated with these masalas. All the edges, all the sides of the meat is nicely marinated with all these masalas. And usually 3 hours if you can marinate, which is really more than enough. Now all the masalas are nicely marinated. Have a look. I'm not going to add the fried onions, right now. I'm going to add the fried onions just before I start with the preparation. So while I am marinating, I will never add fried onions. You always try to add fried onions when you are just about to cook. So I'm now resting this overnight. 3 hours should be good enough. But for this case, I'm just keeping it for overnight. I'm going to cook it tomorrow in the morning. See you tomorrow in the morning. Good night. Hi, good morning. So let's continue with the chicken biryani preparation. So this is the meat that has been marinated over the night, and it looks very tender already. So to this I am going to add the fried onions. So this is what I got from the store. So I'm just adding the fried onions to this. At least 400 to 500 grams of fried onions needs to be added. Okay, once the fried onions has been added, just mix this. We are also going to add little amount of oil. Around 4 tablespoons. Just mix it properly. Okay, it's now mixed it. So in parallel I have taken one bowl and I am boiling the water. I'm going to cook the rice in this, and then I will add the rice on top of the meat and seal the vessel and cook it together as I said in the past. So let the water comes to a boil. So in the meantime, I've got here boiled milk. Have added just orange food color to one glass, and the other glass I have added the egg yellow color. Most of the cases, if you go to any restaurant, they give you rice with the beautiful yellow and orange color. So how you can do that? You can just only use egg yellow color and then add some saffron to this and add some milk or water, and you can just sprinkle on top of the rice, and that rice become yellowish kind of thing, and that's what gives a nice color to the dish. I have also taken in this case also orange color, so if you want you can avoid orange color, but in restaurants most of the times people use saffron and just yellow color, and then that gives a nice color to the dish. Okay, so I'm taking here some saffron. So this is from Spain, and this is going to be a very nice flavor and very nice color, and this is giving a nice flavor and color to the dish. I'm just adding a pinch of them into that egg yellow, and I'm now just mixing this milk. So this yellow color milk is going to be really very flavorful. At the same time it gives a nice yellowish kind of texture to the rice. So keep this aside. The other important thing is the rice. You need to buy a good variety of basmati rice, and you must soak it for at least 45 minutes before you are cooking the rice. And I use Rahman or Diamond basmati rice or India Gate. They are really excellent. When they just cook, they will be very long grain, and then they will also separate from each other. So it is actually very nice basmati rice. Okay, well, now our water is really boiling. So to this I am adding bay leaves and just one cinnamon stick and few green cardamom, just 3 or 4, and I am just also adding cloves. After those whole spices have been added to the boiling water, make sure you also add the salt. This is a very important thing. If you forget to add the salt, and your biryani is gone. So how much salt? You always need to check the salt. It should be slightly saltier, and make sure you add the enough amount of salt and taste it, and it should be very slightly saltier. Now after the salt has been added, I just check the salt. The salt is perfect. It's a little bit saltier. That should be more than enough. And when you smell the basmati rice, after you soak it, it should really smell very nice. So that's that's when your biryani is going to be very nice. And basmati rice, if you pick very good one, and the biryani will be very nice. So now I'm adding the rice to this boiling water. Make sure that you just mix it from the bottom to the top so that the rice gets cooked uniquely. And I'm also adding little amount of oil to this rice, very little, just around 2 tablespoons, just to make sure the rice is nicely separated from each other. And once the rice is at least 70% cooked, we are going to add on top of the meat, and then we will allow at least a little portion of the remaining rice to cook to 90%, and we will add it also as a top layer of the on the meat. Now look at this rice. Just take one rice grain and press it like this, and if it is 80% cooked and it is really soft, if it is grainy, then it is not ready to throw on top of the rice. Now just wait for another 1 minute, and then we will check it and we will add on top of rice. Now just also check again. Take a little rice and see, it's nicely pressed now. So this is 80% cooked. So I'm just adding on top of this meat. Strain this extra moisture. Make sure you are not pouring lot of water into this dish. It is okay if you add a little amount of water to this meat, but most of the times make sure you strain completely and add. So I have added one batch of rice which is 80% cooked as a first layer. So spread this rice. I am first adding a little bit of orange food color. And fried onions. And coriander and mint. Now in parallel, my second batch of rice is also ready. This is 90% cooked. So I'm also transferring this. Strain this as much as possible, but if you can add little amount of water, which is also okay, because the water is more flavorful, because when the rice is cooked and also these spices which we have added while the water is boiling, the water will be very flavorful. So don't throw away, just add a very little amount of water also while you are straining the rice. Now I have transferred the entire rice on top of the meat. Just spread uniquely, evenly distribute to the entire bowl. And same thing, I'm now adding fried onions. and some coriander and mint leaves. And now here comes the saffron soaked milk with the egg yellow color. Just add a little amount. Also the saffron. Some people would like to add ghee on top of this, but ghee is not really required. So what I'm doing now, I'm sealing this properly with a foil paper, or if you have a very tight lid, close it with tight lid and cover it with a nice dough with any kind of flours like all-purpose flour or whatever. But now I'm just covering it with nice foil paper and also a lid on top of this. Covering this nicely with a foil paper. I have completely covered with aluminum foil. What it does, it will stop that pressure, that steam leaving out of this dish, because the top of the rice should be cooked with that steam itself. So that is why we have to nicely cover this. So now, keeping the lid on top of this vessel, transferring back to the flame, and the flame should be on high for first 15 to 20 minutes. Depends on how long you have marinated and also the thickness of the vessel. So this case, this has been marinated under the freeze for about 8 to 10 hours. So first 5 minutes usually it takes to make the chicken comes to the normal temperature, and then it will start cook. So basically 15 to 20 minutes is mandatory on high flame if you have a thick bottom vessel. After that we will reduce the flame to the lowest possible and cook it for about 35 minutes, and that's when the biryani will be ready. After 20 minutes on high flame and 35 to 40 minutes on low flame, the biryani is rested afterwards 5 minutes. Now the biryani is completely done. Let's check that. Now be careful. There's lot of steam. Now look at this rice. This is fantastic, wonderfully cooked. And the rice is completely separated. The grain is completely separated with each other grain. And this is the way that you have to cook when the proper biryani has been, made. Okay, let's also see the bottom part, that is the meat. Wow, look at this. The meat is literally juicy. See this? Look at this. Beautiful. This has been nicely cooked. And look at the bottom. It's not burnt. If you really see the bottom, it's not burnt yet. That is how a proper biryani has to be cooked. Rice must be perfectly cooked, and chicken or any sort of meat must be juicy and tender. And my house is full of nice aromas from this dish, coming out of those aromas. This is a fantastic chicken biryani preparation, and I'm sure that if you really follow the methods that I have shown, you'll also make an excellent biryani. Try this recipe, you will definitely like this. Please share this recipe, like this recipe, leave your comment and subscribe my channel. Thank you.